Hi, welcome to Mindful Yoga. I'm Nancy. Today, our session is circling around several themes. One is just the range of motion that we individually have in our joints, becoming more aware of that, exploring that in our shoulders and our hips, and so on. And then we'll be reviewing some of the things we've done before, such as activating the glutes and also opening in the front as well as long in the back as we do our back bends. Finally, we have the theme of ourselves as clay pots, a clay pot below our navel, into which our breath goes. It warms the clay pot. Our mind follows and boils the water so that steam of breath and vital energy can spread through our whole bodies. So let's start with some breathing. Find a place where your back can be alert, where you can be in touch with the mat and the earth. Let the gaze be soft. Begin to let that breath sink down to below the navel. Let the breath and the vital energy it carries become like a warming air in a clay pot. Letting the ribs swell, the diaphragm descend into that firmness of the pelvic bowl. A little drawing in of the pelvic floor, a little drawing together of this muscle that goes right above the pelvic bone. And letting the breath and vital energy flow down. Let the mind rest in the breath. This is like putting fire under the clay pot. It makes the water boil. Here we're truly engaged with our body, our breath, with our vital energy. Let that water boil until it becomes steam and helps circulate the blood, circulating the breath and the vital energy into all the cells of the body, into hands and feet and brain. Breath and its vital energy bestow a great benefit. Allowing that mind to remain in the body. Move anything that is high underneath your hips, and perhaps bring a blanket under the hips for a few sitting movements. We'll begin by bringing one hand down onto the mat beside you. The other arm reaches up, and we slide out over, opening the lateral aspect of the body. Noticing what happens. Perhaps the first few times the hip on the stretching side rises up a bit. And the feeling is mostly in the ribs and up through the arm. On this last time back and forth, let that opposite hip stay down to the mat and feel the stretch a little bit more through the side hip. Pausing for a moment as that hip connects with the earth, both hips connecting with the earth, and stretching through the side hip, and come up through center. Extend the left leg out and the right foot up. Bring it over the left thigh. Hand comes around that knee, and other hand comes behind to the side of the body. Just turn towards that side wall, extending out through the leg, extending down through the tailbone and up through the neck and crown. Let yourself be that clay pot, the warming air, displacing the cold, moist air. Release and come around to the other side. Leave some space here between chest and knee, so knee is out a bit. This is just a very gentle twist. Turning, keeping some height in the spine as it starts to spiral gently. Letting the mind rest down, helping the water to boil. Release and unwind. Crisscross the legs. Bring the hands down in front of you, running over whatever surface is there, feeling the touch of the surface, a little tuck in the lower abdomen to support you, letting the body have no strain, simply a good feeling of stretching out. One more time as we uncross the legs and recross them in the kind of weird position. Bring the hands down once again. Stretching out from the lower spine. Where do you feel this stretch? What is the range of motion that you have as an individual body to bring to this particular stretch? And coming back up. Let the legs be in this odd way. Inhale as gaze goes down to the fingertips on the mat and brings that hand up and around, exhaling it down. Inhaling it up and exhaling down. Aware of the range of motion in your shoulder. Then one time around the opposite direction, lifting up and coming down slowly through viscous air. Come around to the other side, sweep up with an inhale. Eyes following and exhale down. Always being kind to the body, considering your individual range of motion. Each body has its own structure up to a point, and it has its own experiences, its own life that joint brings to any posture. And so we respect that. And back the other direction, up and down through viscous air. Bring the hands to the side. Inhale as we lift up through the palms. Hands come together overhead, perhaps facing each other, perhaps palms touching. Soften the gaze. Breathe from the bottom of the clay pot up to the top. Fill the whole clay pot with air and energy. One last inhale here. And exhale down. Hands come back behind, good support from the arms coming up through the heels and the balls of the hands up through the shoulders. Feet come wide. First, let's leave our hips down without bringing one hip up as we let the knees go back and forth. Notice the range of motion here. This is just the range of motion of your hips. And you might even notice how, I know for me, one has a little bit more range of motion than the other does. Now let's do it the way we usually do, with allowing one hip to come up. So we're allowing a bigger joint, if you will, to add on to the joints of the hips as the pelvis turns. Every joint has an average range of motion. Today, we're looking at what is your individual range of motion and just exploring that, just being curious about it. Let one arm come around. Again, here you can see that you're increasing your range of motion as the whole spine starts to enter into this movement. One more time. And as you come back around, come to a twist. You might have your hands on the earth and keep the arms rather straight because that's your range of motion, or you might come partly or full down. The forehead might come to the backs of the palms, resting into some kind of twist here. Inhale back up, turn over to the other side. Find your place on this side. What is your version of this full body twist? Inhale back up. We're going to remove the blanket from underneath us and come into a lying position. If you have a strap or a belt, it would be helpful here. It's not absolutely necessary. We're going to raise our leg, and if you want to just bring your hands back behind your thigh for support, that's fine. Or you might bring the strap, let's do the right leg first, around the ball of the foot. And I just have a belt here, or a scarf would do. Let the knee be a little soft. The heel goes towards the ceiling, relaxing down through the jaw and behind the shoulder blades. Letting the breath rise and fall. Bring both strands into one hand, or support the leg with the hand as you open it out to the side, right leg going out to the right side, and experimenting with what is your optimum range of motion here. Not letting it go too far, not straining anything, and yet giving a little bit of opening and challenge. Relaxing down through the nose and the eyes. Use the inner thigh muscle as you come back up. Change hands, supporting that leg as it goes just slightly over the midline, just until you feel a stretch along the side of the leg. Let the warm air of the clay pot go to that place and soften it. Inhale back up. Put the strap aside if you have one. Bring the knee towards the chest. Stretch from knee down to the bottom of the heel on the left leg. Relax down through the shoulders. Then bring the knee towards the armpit, opening up a little bit more through the groin and hip area. Release, extend the right leg, raise the left leg, give it some support with hands behind the thigh, or push up into a strap or belt or scarf. Relax down once again, gently drawing down. Relax down behind the waist. One more breath here. Take both strands of the strap in one hand or support the leg as you bring it out. How's that feel on the outer hip, on the inner hip? Where is your range of motion here? Is it different from the other side? Is the hip, is the right hip in this case, if your left leg is out, is the right hip able to more or less stay down towards the mat? If not, you might want to come up a little bit. Inhale up as you use the inner thigh to come up. Change hands, come over the midline slightly. Bring the softness and warmth to the outside of that leg. Leg comes back up to center. Put the strap aside, keep it close. The knee is going to come up to the chest, give it a hug, reach down through the right heel and feel the length between the left knee and right heel. Relax down through the back of the neck. Bring the knee towards the armpit. Then release that leg down. Take the strap or belt, whatever you have, bring it between your thumb and forefinger on both sides, and let the palms come so that the pinkies are towards each other. If you don't have a strap, that's fine. Just bring the hands into the same situation, the pinkies towards each other and the thumb and forefinger kind of squeezing together. Bring that up above your head, back just a little bit. Then bringing it forward so that your palms are directly up towards the ceiling. Lift the head and the neck and the shoulders a bit. Bring the gaze down towards the toes. Then strong through the body. Bring it up. If you need your elbows there for support to come up, please use them. Knees are soft as you come forward from the base of the spine a bit. Then slowly coming back down. If you need to use the elbows here for support, feel free to do so. Gradually building strength. Bring the palms so they're up towards the ceiling. Raise head and shoulders. Knees can be a little soft here. Challenging yourself to come up. Free to use your elbows on the way up. Coming forward. Lying back, perhaps using elbows. Arms come up, fingers pointing up towards the ceiling. Then palms going up towards the ceiling. One last time. Bringing yourself up, coming forward, and back. Come back down onto the mat. Bring the feet about 6 inches or so, 6 or 7 inches below your buttocks. We're coming into a bridge pose, but giving a little bit more room than we often do between the buttocks and the heels. Bring the elbows in towards the waist, tuck the shoulders, weight into the soles of the feet, weight into the shoulders, maybe a little into the forearms. As you come up about halfway, a half bridge, squeeze the glutes and come back down. So we're only going up halfway. And as we get up there, we start up by pushing into the soles of the feet. Then squeeze the glutes because your hips are extending, your hips are opening in the front. And so they need the support of those good, tight, strong glutes. And come back down. This time we'll continue on up, coming halfway, squeezing the glutes. And as you come a little farther, feeling the hamstrings and the muscles in the back kicking in, the whole posterior chain of muscles active now. Knees are parallel with each other. Stomach rising and falling with breath. And exhale down. Roll over on your side. We're going to do some side leg lifts. We're heading today towards a half moon position. So much we'll be doing is opening up the body and strengthening it for that. The hips are stacked. The ankles are stacked. Let the toe trace from the ankle up to the knee. Hover the leg bent in the middle. Point up, flex, and slowly come down. Trace up, ankle to knee, bent knee, point, flex, and down. And one more time. Up, bent knee, point, flex, and down. Now we're going to kick forward slightly with the top leg, flexing the ankle. Then we're going to kick back just a bit, pointing the toe. Kick forward, flex, kick back, point. Kick forward, flex, kick back, point. Just small kicks, forward, and back, and bring it back together. You can just turn over or bring your whole body around. I want to face you, so I'm bringing my whole body around. And we'll do the side leg lifts once again, tracing the toe from the ankle up to the knee, hovering the bent knee, pointing up, flexing, and slowly coming down. Tracing to knee, bent knee, point, flex, and down. One last time. Now kicking forward with the flexed foot and kicking back slightly with a pointed toe, keeping the hips stacked. Forward flex, back point. Forward flex, back point. And one last time. And bring the feet together. Bending the knees, pushing up. We're going to come up onto our knees to do a gait pose. If this is hard on the knees, you can always do this with a chair, coming over, and then bringing this leg out a bit as you come over on this side. It's slightly different, but it gets a lot of the same idea. So coming onto one knee, one foot can be out. You might be on the heel with the toes up, or you might have the sole down. Either one is fine. Make sure you have a nice straight line from the knee up through the hip. Inhale, arm up. Exhale as you stretch through the side of the body and hand floats down the leg. Inhale up, arm comes down, arm reaches up, foot reaches out. Feel that strength coming out from the middle of the body, strong through the belly. Bring yourself back up and float over. Inhale up. Exhale into the radiating star. Inhale up, strong belly. Exhale over. And come into what is actually a knee down half moon. So we'll be coming into a standing half moon, and this is doing it on your knee and coming back up. Bring the other knee down. Arrange this leg as you like it. Inhale as one arm reaches up and the other floats down the leg. Reaching out from the heart, up and down and out. And come over. One more time. Let the breath become the steam and circulate the blood through all the cells. One last time over. And one last kneel down, half moon. And come back down. Let's come into a tabletop position. Hands are under shoulders and knees are under hips. Inhale as stomach sinks and tailbone rises, heart slides forward. Exhale as tailbone turns down and back arches. Now bring the hips down to the heels, hands come out. Nice long stretch here. Pause for a moment. Then inhale, come back up onto your knees into what some call a flying cow as you're long through the back, long from pelvis up through sternum. Hitchhike, thumbs are up and palms are open, and come down. No strain there in the flying cow, just a nice opening. Stretch out here in child's pose. Then coming forward, let the tailbone rise, good support through the shoulders, and exhale as the back arches and tailbone goes down. One more time, heels come down to in contact with hips. Reach out, have a stretch in child's pose, coming back onto the knees, open up through the chest, palms open, thumbs up, long tailbone straight down, neck open in the back, and then an opening from the pelvis up through the sternum. And come back down. Bring your hands under your shoulders, Tap your feet in the back. Then tuck the toes and let the hips come back onto the heels. If this is painful for you, just come up onto your knees. Bring your fingers interlaced, and we're going to turn the wrists in a figure 8. Unlace, interlace the opposite way. Let the non-dominant hand lead this time for another figure 8. Then however you want to interlace, my fingers always jump back into their ordinary way. Let the heels of the hands brush against each other back and forth. Then push forward towards the horizon, palms going outwards towards the horizon, long through the back and the neck. Then let the fingers come down so that the palms are more or less towards your body. And back and forth, up and down, and up and down. Let's slide forward into plank. Hands are under shoulders, knees might be down or up. Reach energy back through the heels. Nice straight line from hips, more or less straight from hips up through shoulders and head. For 3, 2, and 1. Let elbows come in, knees come down. Bring the hands under the forehead. So my hands are on top of each other, and my forehead is going to come down on top of them, although I'll be talking. Let the legs be about hip width apart, so feet are not completely together. Point the toes. Now let's concentrate on the right leg first. Engage the glutes and lift that leg just 2 or 3 inches, not far at all. Your head can be down here. You might bring a hand around and palpate the glute muscle a little bit. See if you're engaging there. Sometimes we compensate. So if you don't feel an engagement as you go up and down just a bit, you might bend the knee and then go up and down and see if you get more engagement or some engagement. That keeps the hamstring from kicking in. If you want to activate your glute muscle, you can do this a bit every day. Let's give our attention to the left side. Activate the glute on that side, or let it activate as you raise that leg slightly. Palpate the glute. Is it tight? Is it working? If it isn't, bend the knee. And one more time. Now, bring the feet together, the knees together, the thighs together. Squeeze the glutes. Bring the arms around so that the palms are face down on the mat. Raise head and shoulders. Let the palms come out to the side in an inverted V with the thumbs up. You're now using the glutes, the hamstrings, the back muscles, the whole posterior chain of muscles is alive here. And bring it down. Take a breath. Inhale, head and shoulders rise. Thumbs come up to the side, inverted V with the arms. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. And come down. Bring the hands underneath the cheek and just relax for a moment. Then bringing the hands under the shoulders, elbows close, tuck the toes, dig into the hands, hips rise, and the weight comes back over the feet into a downward dog. Let knees be soft at first. Wide fingers, good grip with the balls and heels of the hand, widening through the upper back as the eyes of the elbow turn just slightly up, stretching back through the hips. And letting the feet become quiet the heels just slightly coming down in the direction of the mat. Being aware of what works for you here. What is the range of motion? Many joints at work in a downward dog. Bring the left foot underneath the hips. Right foot rises up. Press into hands and foot. Rise up a little bit more. Then you might come down on your knees to come into lunge, or you might bring that knee under and the foot through. So my right foot is through here. Could be the other one if you like. First, we're going to just reach back through the heel. Nice lunge stretch here. This is a time when, if it feels uncomfortable, you might want blocks or books, something to give you some height here. Or you can tent your fingers. I have to do that in this case. Then back knee comes down, roll over the front heel, hands come back around the knees, straighten a bit through the back. Of course, you always have the soft curves of the back, but the eyes are up in front of the mat. Then bringing the hands back up, tuck the toes, come forward a bit with that back foot. Forearm might come up onto that right thigh as we come up into a high lunge. Bring the hands to the hips at first, thighs coming towards each other, horizontal through the hips. If you would like more stretch through the calf, your heel might come down in the back. If you want more opening through the hip, the heel might come up. So find your choice there. We're going to inhale, arms up, inhaling sharply through the nose, then exhaling sharply through the nose as elbows bend back behind. Inhale, sharp inhale, sharp exhale. Staying in the nostril if that works for you. At your own pace. You need to open your mouth on the exhale, that's okay. 2 more. Now we're going to turn the back foot and come into a warrior 2. Finding your warrior 2 position. Finding your range of motion in this front hip. Sometimes this is a bit too much for the hip. So if you need to have more of a diagonal knee and toe, let that be. Adjust your body and the yoga to each other. Feeling firmness through the grounding down of the feet, energy up through the body, that vital energy and breath coming up through the body, fingers reaching out. Come back into your clay pot. Breathing fully and warmly. Letting your mind boil the water. Front arm bends, comes down onto the front thigh, and back arm might come up or over. Again, curious about your range of motion here that works for you. Feeling length on this side of the body and some energy under the body. And top arm comes back and over, draws the body up. And the front arm reaches up towards the sky. Let the shoulders relax down the back here. Let the energy of the clay pot connect with the energy of the universe all around. The universe that has made it. And then coming back through warrior 2, we're going to windmill the hands down around the front foot and come back into downward dog. Again, soft knees, long spine, broad upper back. Finding your breath, finding your place in downward dog. Then bringing the left foot underneath the hips, right foot rises, push into the hands and foot, rise up and down on knees or knee under arched back and come into a lunge stretch. A breath or 2 here. Back knee comes down, roll over front heel, long back, softness in the knee. Gaze forward in front of the mat. Bring the weight of hands and foot forward. Jump forward with that toe in the back. Arm might be on the thigh as you come up. Bringing hands to hips. Finding where you want to be in high lunge. Heel farther down or toe tucked more. Aligned across the hips. Bhastrika breath. Inhale, exhale. Three more. Come into warrior two. I'm going to turn around here. So coming into warrior two on this side, feeling the feet grounding down, finding your right range of motion here that's right for your individual body, opening up through the chest, settling your clay pot down firm through the bottom of your clay pot, little pelvic floor drawing in, that muscle across the top of the pelvic bone drawing in just a bit, then allowing the ribs to swell, the diaphragm to descend, pumping that vital energy and breath throughout the body, feeling it perhaps coming out through your fingertips. Bend the front arm, bring it down onto your thigh, and come into side angle. Content with whatever opening the range of motion gives you. Then coming up, reaching up, coming back through warrior two, hands onto hips, feet come into pigeon toe, bring your hands to the hip creases, let the body come forward, parallel, bending at the bottom of the spine, and soft knees and hips, dangling down. Soft through the lower back, middle back, upper back, and neck. One hand to opposite ankle and open. Strong through the belly as you come across and open on the other side. Come back through center, hands up to hips, torso parallel, pause, and then come the rest of the way up. Bring the feet together. We're going to use a chair now. So having a chair near you, I'll give you a moment to get that. If you have your chair there already, you can just take a mountain pose, feeling the grounding down of the feet, lengthening the body up. And once you have your chair there, at first this will be here just as a possibility. We're going to just lift one leg, and you might have your hands on your hips, or you might have one hand on the chair. Weight into the leg that's nearest the chair and lifting that leg. Only so far as you don't disturb the alignment of the hips too much. So you don't want to be coming up so far that your whole body is, or your hips are going over. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now bring your weight into your outside foot from the chair. Weight comes down, bring the energy up, arm rises. Stretch to the side of the body as the elbow and wrist arc over the head. You might have a hand on the chair here. Let this foot be empty. This leg is empty. Then let that leg, the inner leg, come up and down a few times. Just a small kick. And bring it around. Now bring your weight back into the leg that's near the chair, and probably on a chair now, just to play around and see what it's like to bring the whole body over. Again, now you're using not only your hip, but you're using the whole pelvis, the body to come over, increasing your range of motion. Let's try that all on the opposite side. So once again, we have our weight in the leg near the chair, or hands might be on both hips, either way, and lifting that leg. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the weight into the outside leg. This leg is loose. Reach up, ground down, open up laterally, elbow and wrist arcing over the head, and then allowing this leg to take a slight side kick. 3, 2, and 1. Weight comes back into that inner leg near the chair, and the whole body comes over. So this is the action that we're going to be doing as we go into the half moon in just a moment. One last time. Move the chair just a little bit so you have room to bring the feet wide and the arms wide. Be a star shining out right here on earth. Then let the weight come over into one foot and over into the other, back and forth. What's your range of motion here? It has to do with both joints and with balance. Kind of a fun exercise. One more time on each side. And come back through center. Now we're going to do a triangle and then from there go into a half moon. So a half moon is going to be this. And you might be using the chair for your hand, or you might be using a block. So it might be like this, it might be like this. You might use a book or something if you don't have a block. But the chair is just fine, using the seat of the chair. We'll start by doing a triangle. So backing up just a little bit, a foot or so from all that apparatus. The feet are not so wide apart, 30 degrees in the back foot, which is just behind the front foot, the toes forward. Bring the hands to the hip creases, down a little bit from the waist. Let the hips go back, forward a bit, back and forward, ending up towards the back, towards the side wall. Opening through the chest, reach with the fingers, reach out to the horizon with gaze and fingers, and then windmill. Always respecting your range of motion and being curious about how does that hip feel in the back? How do the shoulders feel? What is my range of motion here? Maybe you need to come up a little bit more. Maybe you can come down a little bit more. Then softening through the knee. Arms are like wings reaching out over the earth. Front arm comes down onto the inner leg and the back arm comes up. The face remains down towards the mat. The rib cage turns a little bit with that back hand. Back hand comes down onto the leg and come up the leg to bring yourself back up. Now bring the back foot forward, soft knee in the front, and hand comes down onto seat of chair or onto block. Back leg lifts up and arm lifts up. So we're in this same star kind of what's called in yoga half moon. And you might find yourself in a more diagonal position. You might be parallel to the floor. Strong through that inner leg, grounding down. Feeling the energy coming from the inner self all the way out through the limbs. Then soften the knee, come down. Just take a soft gaze and a breath. And we're going to do this one more time. Bending soft in the knee, kind of taking off from that back foot, coming down onto whatever works for your body. Opening up to the side, Reaching up through the fingers, out through the foot, down through the foot. Heart is open. For 3, 2, and 1. Bring the hand down and then the foot, soft knee, and come up. Good job. All right, let's bring the chair around to the other side. The block if you're using it. And we'll come into triangle once again on this side. So finding your triangle legs. Grounding down, bringing hands to the hip creases, letting hips come back, forward, back to the wall on the side, forward, and back. Readying the hips for this stretching out, stretch out towards the horizon, and windmill. Find your range of motion, shoulders gently down the back, opening through the chest, breathing. Soft in the front knee, pivot round so heart is facing the earth. Arms out, front arm comes down onto the inner leg, back arm reaches up a bit, bringing the rib cage up with it, face remains down towards the mat. Hand comes back down from the back to the leg and trace up the leg to come up gently. Soft knee in the front, back foot comes forward a bit, hand comes down onto chair or block. Strong through that foundation leg, grounding down, lifting up, letting the lift come through the leg, up through the body, up through the fingers above you, out through the foot in the back, and the hand on chair or block. Finding your range of motion here, perhaps you're diagonal. Your hand might even be on the back of the chair. That's always a possibility. Soft in the front knee, come back. Take a moment here for a breath. Then once again, bringing the weight forward, finding your prop here, chair or block, reaching up through hands, out through foot. Let the heart open and expand. Let the clay pot be full of air and vital energy. 3, 2, and 1. Soft in the knee and bring it down. Good work. Let's bring the feet far apart, bend the knees, and just go back and forth. Bending one knee and then the other. Loosening up a bit. Coming up, bringing the feet together, coming into mountain pose. Inhale, arms up, gaze up. Exhale, forward. Hands might come to opposite elbows or dangle down. Inhale, hands to shin, long through the spine. Exhale, down. Inhale up as arms sweep up, come up overhead, touch, and then come back around. Bring the hands to the back of the sacrum, fingers down. Elbows are squeezing together. Shoulder blades also squeezing together. So opening through the chest, soft through the knees and the hips. Feel the length of the tailbone going straight down, not forward, not back, but neutral. Tailbone straight down. Little tuck in the chin so you're long through the back of the neck. Then opening from pelvis up through sternum. Eyes floating up a bit. And come back down, bend knees and hips, cross the arms, fountain up, bring the arms round. Hands come back behind again, squeeze the shoulder blades together, long through tailbone and neck, open from pelvis up through sternum. Eyes might come up a little bit farther, still a little tuck in the chin for the long neck, and come back up, One more time, bend knees and hips, fountain the arms round, and one last back bend, long in the back and opening in the front. And bring it back. Bring the feet wide for a moment. Begin to turn the hips and let a knee come in a ways. And let the heel come up and the arms begin to swing. The initial motion being from the hips, letting the twist and the flowing of the body come forth from the action of the hips. Letting the body just flow and relax. Now let the one hand come to drum the inside of the shoulder. Then come down to give a little drum on the sides of the ribs. Little drum on the outside of the hips. And then we'll go to the breastbone. And the solar plexus between the lower ribs. Into the area below the navel. Then one hand is going to be in the front of the waist and one hand on the back of the waist. Then moving down, one hand on the front of the pelvis, one on the back of the pelvis. One last time. Bringing feet under hips, knees and hips are soft. Let the arms come up in front of you, palms down, fingers loose, elbows pretty loose here. And then let the arms come down as the knees bend and the arms come back behind. Continuing this motion, inhale up and exhale back at your own rate. Just letting the body enter into the momentum, the gravity, all the vital energy of the body as it interacts with the earth and the air. Hands might come up a little farther. Knees might rise. You might come up onto tiptoes, an option. Letting the whole body enter in. Mind, breath, vital energy, all one. One last time. And slowly letting your body swing up. Let's come down onto the mat and lie back. As you come onto the mat, let your shoulders and head and hips and heels sink down into the mat towards the earth. Perhaps feel your heart beating, your breath slowing. Be with the breath. Be with the heart. Bend the knees. Bring the knees up towards the armpits. Raise the feet and come into happy baby. Or you can do anything else, a stretch that just might be what your body is wanting right now. Anything in happy baby, or if there's something else, feel free to do that. Answering whatever the body calls for. Then extending the legs out. Bring the arms horizontal out from the shoulders. Roll the hips around so they're comfortable, shoulders are comfortable. Bring the left foot up beside the right thigh. Lift the hips over to the left. Let the left foot come up on the right thigh. Hand on the right gently draws that knee across. The body becomes an axis rolling. Again, find the range of motion that is right for you here. Relax everywhere you can. Down through hip and shoulders and jaw. Letting the breath sweep through you, warm you, soften you. Then releasing that twist, bringing the hips round. Left leg is extended, right foot comes up by the left thigh. Hips go over towards the right. Bring the foot up to the thigh. Draw the knee over gently. Relax into your preferred range of motion. Let the eyes be deep in their sockets. Ears turned inwards. Lips soft. Release and unwind. Come into a shavasana for a minute or two. Finding a comfortable place for the hips. Maybe the knees are tented together, if that's more comfortable. Or they might be extended. You might have a blanket under your knees. Continuing to warm the clay pot. Letting the mind rest peacefully in the abdomen. Feeling the glutes soft against the mat, the backs of the thighs, calves, the soles of the feet open, clear. Perhaps the palms of the hands feel some coolness or warmth of air. Thumbs and fingers soft. Forearms, upper arms relaxed. Shoulder bones. The space behind the heart and between the shoulder blades. The back of the neck, the back of the skull. The crown, open to the vital energy. Stay here if you'd like. If you're going back into your day, lengthen the breathing and bring some movement to fingers and toes. Perhaps roll wrists and ankles. Maybe give the knees a hug. Is there any intention that you would like to bring back into your day from the yoga practice? perhaps just the warm air of the clay pot. And rolling over, we'll come up into a brief sitting position. Hands to heart center. May we be healthy. May we be spacious. May we love peace. And may we be kind to our bodies. Namaste. Thanks for practicing with me. I hope you have a good day, and we'll see you the next time.